A portion of this video is sponsored by DistroKid. If you're looking for a keyboard dedicated to FL Studio Control, this might be the right keyboard for you. FLKey is a keyboard by Novation that will give you a great keybed, drum pads, control of FL's channel rack, mixer, plugins, transport controls, and a chord mode as a bonus. In this video, I'll take you through the interesting features dedicated to FL and the pros and cons of the FLKey keyboard. Watch until the end because I'll be comparing it to a few other keyboards and you might find a feature you didn't know you needed. I'll put links to the best prices for the FLKey in the video description below. All right. First of all, this keyboard comes in two versions. I've got the 37 key version here, and it has full-size keys. Novation also has a 25 key mini version if you need something smaller. The FLKey Mini is $110 and the FLKey 37 is $200. These are typical prices for these size of keyboards, so they hit the right price point. So what do you get? Let's get to the most exciting features first. To my knowledge, there are no other keyboards that give you this much control of the channel rack in FL. If you know of any others, let me know in the comments below. This is the first keyboard dedicated to FL Studio. It's in the name, FLKey. The only other controller that gives you this much dedicated control of FL, especially the channel rack, is the FLKey Fire. But yeah, no keys on that one. So channel rack control. Channel rack in FL lets you create beats and sequence anything quickly. And the FLKey gives you full control of it. Well, the most needed stuff at least. Once you have drums loaded, you can play them. And then select a sound, switch to the pad sequence mode, and now you can start sequencing your beat right on the keyboard. Shift plus the lower pad switches your pad modes. You can use them to control the channel rack or use them to play instruments or access chords and scale modes. More on that later. Hey, while we're on the pads, let me say I've always liked Novation pads. I think they're responsive with nice sensitivity. They're velocity sensitive, of course. They have much more travel than FLKey pads, but still feel very comfortable to play. These are some of my favorite pads on budget keyboards. A little small for some people's taste, so keep that in mind if you prefer larger pads. Oh, and there's note repeat as well. This is a must-have on keyboards these days. And you can get very surgical with the note repeat, giving you quarter, eighth, 16th, and 32nd note divisions and triplets. Hey, if you're an FL Studio user, you may already have a keyboard you're using. What are you using right now? Comment below and let me know if you have some recommendations. All right, channel rack stuff aside, there's a lot more you can do. Since this is a keyboard, let's check out some features that are great to have while you play the keys. You have plugin control, very nice plugin control. Load up a plugin in FL, switch the knobs to plugin mode, and you can use the knobs to adjust different parameters. This is a whole lot of fun. Of course, you can load up other plugins from third-party manufacturers as well. And the keys on the 37 key version of the FLKey feel great. These feel like synth keys. Nice feel, very comfortable to play. Velocity sensitive as well. Oh, and you can also switch presets in your plugins with the buttons over here. Are these the best keys out there? Well, compared to Arturia and the Native Instruments A series, they're pretty much on par. Now, I don't have the 25 key mini version, so I haven't tested out those keys. However, I do have a Launch Key Mini with me, and if they put the same keys on the FLKey Mini as they did on the Launch Key Mini, well, they would not be up to par with the competition of mini keyboards out there. A bit too soft and mushy for me. But hey, I'm a pianist and I'm pretty picky when it comes to key feel. Anyway, on the 37 key version, they're really nice. And you've got your pitch and mod wheels on the side as well. The mini version does not have the screen and doesn't have all the transport control buttons, but you've got the most important stuff. Now, the FLKey does not include a built-in arpeggiator, which these days is a pretty standard feature on MIDI controllers, and you'll find them on FLKey and M-Audio keyboards, and even on Novation's own FLKey Mini. And it would have been nice considering this keyboard has a MIDI out port, so you could have used the ARP to control hardware synths. This is not a deal breaker for me, but good to keep it in mind. All right, so you can play the keys. What about recording a song? Let's get into the mixer controls, transport controls, and more in just a sec. But before we do, if you're recording music at home, you should consider releasing it to the world. It's pretty easy to get your music out there with DistroKid, the sponsor of today's video. DistroKid is a service that helps you put your music on Spotify, Apple Music, TikTok, Instagram, iHeartRadio, pretty much everywhere people listen. And they collect earnings for you when people play, stream, or purchase your music. I think a lot of people highly underestimate how easy it is to get your music out there. Now, just because you post a song doesn't mean you're going to instantly rack in millions of plays. So DistroKid gives you tools to help you get the word out. I like their hyperfollow feature most. It gives you a quick link that you can post anywhere that you want to share the word on your new release. And people can use that link to quickly follow you. I actually made a video about how to post on DistroKid, how earnings are collected, and I answer the most popular questions I got too. You can watch that video here, and if you're ready to sign up, there's a link in the video description below that will give you a discount on your first year of DistroKid membership. Okay, before we get to the mixer and transport controls, let me cover one other thing: the scale, chord, and user chord modes. FLKey comes with built-in chords. It's helpful if you're still learning to play keys and you need help with some music theory. Scale chord mode gives you lots of chords on the pads. You get major, minor, 7th, 9th chords right here. Page through and you can find whatever you like. User chord mode gives you the ability to create your own chords and save them to the pads, so you can access your full chord progressions right here. Hey, what kind of music are you making with FL Studio? Comment below. Okay, FLKey would not be complete without its full mixer controls and the transport controls. Transport controls are easy. You've got play, stop, record, metronome, undo, redo. Very useful buttons to have. When it comes to mixer controls, you've got full control of your mixer volume, pans, and you've got controls for channel volume and pan as well. When it comes to build quality, this keyboard is lightweight and it's up to par with the A series by Native Instruments or FLKey keyboards of similar size. The knobs and buttons feel really good. I really love that the buttons don't make a clicky noise when you press them. On the back, you've got sustain, USB, and a MIDI out port, so you can connect to a hardware synth if you want. All right, so this seems to be a great keyboard, but what other options do you have for FL Studio? Well, you've got Nectar keyboards, which give you good control of standard features in FL Studio, but they won't give you the dedicated channel rack control that the FLKey gives you. Other keyboards have settings for FL Studio, like the Arturia Keylab Mark II, FLKey MPK Mini, but again, they will give you general control for the mixer, some transport controls, etc. But at the price of the FLKey, nothing gives you this much dedicated FL control. I'll say this: if you want to explore one other company for FL control, check out Nectar. I should also add that other keyboards like those by Native Instruments and Arturia will give you more plugin integration with their own plugin lines. The FLKey doesn't really have deep integration with third-party plugins, but remember, it did a pretty good job at controlling FL's own instruments. So who do I think this keyboard is good for? Come on, if you're an FL Studio producer, beat maker, or songwriter, you're going to love this keyboard. There you go. And if you want to go ahead and get it, I'll put links in the video description to the best prices for the FLKey. Hey, Novation has some pretty stiff competition, and if you want to check out my comparison of the best budget MIDI keyboards out there, check out my video here. And don't miss my Saturday Music Gear news videos where I bring you the latest from the music gear world and exclusive discounts on plugins and free plugins as well. Keep making the music you love, and I'll see you soon.